Everybody get settled in for a second. And Shauna is going to join us when she can. She had 2 parent conferences after school today. So she's going to try to hop on the Zoom as soon as she's done. And she was home with a sick kid. So she's got, yeah.
Yes, it's juggling.
It's juggling. So she might be here, she might not. As far as the reviews go, we have a pretty easy night with just the one. So let's go ahead and get started with the pledge. Now that Eric sat down, we can get back up again.
Just like at home.
I know, just like, oh. All right, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic.
Liberty and justice for all.
Hey, Pat.
Hi, guys.
Wow, this is like,
Just got really nasty out.
that's what I was looking out there and I was
Yes.
looked at stuff blowing and then I saw
And it blew me in.
I saw people come in with looking a little bit disheveled, and it's like, wait a minute, it was nice just an hour or so ago when I drove over here. How things change, and it's 4:30 and it's dark. Oh, it's fun. I just love it. All right, well, welcome to the ECB meeting for December 2nd, 2021, our last meeting of the year. I do not see any guests to introduce, so we'll move on to the next item. The organizational meeting will continue. The Ordinance Committee still has the information that's been passed on to them, and hopefully, I don't know where it sits on their ranking of items to look at as far as the reorganization ideas and thoughts that we have shared with them. Hopefully it happens soon. And that next year can get off to a well-organized start. Because as I was saying, some of you might have heard me, I don't know. And there's a chance that I'll be here in the January meeting. It just all depends on how quickly we get things reorganized and how quickly things shake down. Because I'll also have county meetings on Thursday nights, is now rotating Thursday. So eventually there will be one person, there will be somebody replacing me, and then you'll all be like, oh, finally.
Not at all.
All right, so let's go down to item E. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from November 4th, 2021?
Yes, you may.
I get a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on those? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. All right, first privilege of the floor. Anybody who would like to speak? Okay, seeing no hands and seeing no hands in the Zoom world. So we do not have an updated report from the development office at this point as far as potential change of meeting dates. That will most likely have to happen at the next meeting since Shauna couldn't make it. And I know the discussion that we had was whether we're going to shift, this meeting might shift to make it easier for the development office to actually have this information to get to the planning board, so the planning board can have time to digest the things that we share, and it's not just a quick tertiary glance, which I think is something that we would all like, and it would make our comments more, they'd be able to see our comments better. All right, so we had some discussion at the last town board meeting about the view shed overlay. I shared thoughts that were shared with me by many of you. I shared those at the meeting. The ordinance did pass, but it was made very clear during our discussion at the meeting that it was just a first step. And pretty much everyone who spoke, and even those who spoke in favor of it from the beginning, realized that there's more to be done with that. So my hope is also that now that that is on the books, that it doesn't just kind of go off into the back burner, because all the thoughts and the ideas that were shared were vital to protecting that view shed and that whole lake area. There will be another that will be coming up quickly, because I know the project on East Lake Road is in another rendition, and it lies right in that area. So it's something that we'll need to consider. So I'd encourage everyone to be aware of that. Keep up on the project and share any thoughts with the board, with the town board, and keep working on ordinance committee to get those through, and I will do that as well. So other than that, there are no referrals from the town board. I'm not aware of anything from the CIC. Do we have anything to bring up from them?
We talked about. My brain is in a fog.
That's okay.
I apologize.
No, that's okay.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Shauna, you made it.
I made it. I just got home from the school, so I'm here.
Man, those darn teachers, they just keep you so late and they just, oh, man. I'm sorry, I feel for you.
Well, I mean, you don't think that's the primary school is that big until you walk from one end to the other. It's pretty big.
It's that big.
Oh, it's
It is, because I have a kindergartner and a fifth grader, and they're at opposite, and they're, it was back to back conferences, but I'm here.
Yeah, there's definitely no quick going from one side. Good thing is during the day, the people are small in there, so you can dodge around them.
Right.
Okay, so I'm not aware of any referrals from the ordinance committee as well. Kim, are you aware of anything that was handed off to us?
No.
Okay. All right, see, Shauna, you're just in time for our discussion on the PRC referral.
All right.
You'll notice, and Shauna and I had discussed this, because this is a project that we've been looking at for a long time. It wasn't assigned to anyone specific to review, and I think it would be good to, as we discuss it as a group, to have anybody who wants to share their thoughts about the project. It's been reviewed, it's been modified, it's been adjusted a lot, but I know there are a couple specific areas that we want focused on during the project. So I will open the discussion on CPN 21-091, which is Marathon Engineering regarding the properties on State Route 21 Parish Street Extension, also known as the Pierce Brook subdivision. And it is up there on the map. So I will open the discussion to anyone who has any thoughts or comments that they would like to share. And then after that, I know Shauna and I talked about some things. So Shauna, we'll let the general discussion go and then bring up some of those thoughts that we had shared.
Great.
I have a request. Could you show the site plan and highlight any changes to the site plan since the last time we looked at it, which I believe was the meeting at which Jeff Morrell attended, and he gave us a rundown on the rationale and so on. So I'm curious to know if what we're looking at, what we're considering now is the same as that, or if it's changed in some way.
So I was not at when was the last one? I don't remember being at the last one. I know I've met with him a bunch of times on this and he's presented. Maybe it was back in the beginning. It was almost a little less than a year ago. Yeah. As far as since that last rendition, I'm not aware of any changes in it. Shauna, can you correct me? Other than maybe the sharper S, the sharper
If
S
anything, if anything's changed, because same with me. I wasn't part of the initial iterations. I know a few units have shifted. I know that he moved the units back from Route 20, from Bristol Road or County Road 32 to accommodate some of the neighbors. I know he shifted some of the units on Parish Street Extension, so one of the neighbors would still have the view that they were looking for. So it's been minor changes. And then the other changes we're going to talk, Jared and I will talk about when it's after this discussion.
Right. And I think, so you see, Sarah Linda, you see where right above where it says future there, where the line is going over that little creek bed area, the line with the little brick, the road going over it.
Right.
That, as far as I recall, has been tightened up to shorten that turn to provide more green space and to allow them to shift the houses away from the road and away from the neighbors a little bit. So that is that is the main change that I recall that I can pull up with a project.
Do you remember, or maybe Justin remembers, because I think he reviewed this for us the first time, but did the ECB make any recommendations for changes the last time we looked at it, and did they result in anything different?
Yeah, I was trying to bring up the old one, sorry. I don't think there was any major things that we had brought up other than commending them on all the effort they were making to provide this open space and the thought that they put into the environment and surroundings. I think we still had the one conversation about, if the 150 versus 100-foot buffer from the stream that was there. And I think that was some of our focus. And then I think there was also the discussions that I think he answered regarding the more or less who would be maintaining it and everything, the open space that is. But off the top of my head, I can't remember. The big changes were from the first iteration to the second one, where they went from all those single family townhomes to the double and triple, basically, townhomes.
Justin, do you remember when that meeting was?
What's that?
Do you remember when you did the review of that?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up and I don't think I have it on my file that I have on my computer right now.
We were remote.
I know the first one was back in January of last year, or this year, sorry. Hold on one second.
So we were back in June, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm gonna look for it. I'll
Okay.
just, if you want to keep talking.
Yeah, while you're looking for that, can we bring that up on Core? So we can, okay,
And the other piece too,
the other,
the piece to the south.
the
of
piece to the
Dallas.
south is that field to
Yeah,
the south.
this one?
Yep, go
Yep.
ahead and click on that, yeah. So that section, and it shows up across the road too, but it's the section to the south, I mean, to the north. So click on, yep.
Yeah.
So ignore the piece below. It's gonna, it goes away when you click it out, doesn't it? But I think we've got an idea of where it is.
Mhm.
So one of the concerns that we had discussed is the stream that runs through it. And encouraging them to stay away from that area. And I know that I don't have an update. I don't know if you do, Shawna, about what he talked.
I do.
He was gonna be talking to Kevin Mulvaney and they're gonna be working on that. So I think that's the number one
Yeah.
impact, the number
Sure.
one concern that this property is gonna have.
Kim, could you maximize the view? Make it, my screen is tiny. I don't know if it's just my screen. Or maybe it's the window I had. I can barely see it.
So if you might have to hide them.
Yeah.
I'll hide them.
So I can give an update. I would say about 60% of the stream work has been finished. If you look at this aerial right now, as you can see the stream where it kind of takes a right angle. It travels and then it turns right and goes around. So it's more meandering. It doesn't have that severe angle, and it kind of meanders in a slight slight east to, it basically was cleaned out, and this was I guess a farmer did this. One of the farmers, I don't know when, made that angle for drainage issues, but anyways, the stream is back in its intended path, and it's been cleaned out. The area to the south, they're going to be working on. So if you look at basically where it takes a right to the south, still needs some vegetation and riparian work done. But the plantings have gone in. There's multiple plantings that have were put in 2 weeks ago. So I know Jeff encourages us to go out and take a look. So if you're interested, there's an easy access road. You know, you've probably seen the temporary sign.
Did we lose her?
So it's actually a great project. Mm-hmm.
Was there any feedback from Light Hill, the hospice care facility, which is on Parish Street Extension and pretty close to the development? I didn't know if they had concerns given their mission and the proximity to all the residential development. You hear anything from them?
I personally, speaking from them, I have not. The only two residents that I had heard from were the bed and breakfast. And then the residents right to the east of there. Basically, the residents that the driveway is going to split right between them. I did not hear from Light Hill.
Okay.
And I did not see anything or receive any comments from them.
All right. Yeah, it's quite a grade behind there, and I assume they're preserving the trees, the vegetation that exists there now, so they should be, I guess, buffered.
And that is one thing that was repeated multiple times, was that to keep that. So if you're driving on 5 and 20, you can see Light Hill, you can see it there, but you can't see any of the project, any of the homes up above there, because of the grade.
Mhm. Okay, yeah, just curious.
Sorry, so I found it was back in June. The second, I guess, look at it was provided with comments at our June meeting. And then the first time this year was back in February, with the other two previous rounds happening in 2019. But I guess the only additional recommendations we had at the time was some kind of cooperative management with the current Miller Park and the grassland habitats, so that they're kind of working synergistically, I guess, with one another and trying to preserve it as kind of one unit, or managing it equally, I guess, between the two sides.
Right, and that's part of what had been discussed with them, moving the houses, shifting them a little bit to create as much green space as possible. Jeff had even mentioned allowing that could still be farmed. There's a large enough area that could still be farmed if that was something that was wanted. I know that it was not the feeling, of the town board, that the town should assume that should be turned back to the town as parkland, so that will be maintained in the HOA, because we didn't want to take on the extra maintenance and the extra cost of taking care of this project when it was done. But I know the roadway, if you look up, the plan is to put access between, right where Miller Park is, to put easy access. And I know Jeff has been working, and he has talked to DOT about crossing lines and other things to have access, so that trail will connect over near the parking lot area of Miller Park to be able to connect the two of those.
So even though that's gonna be privately owned, they're gonna allow
Privately owned
people who
public
are not
access.
public access,
Yes.
privately owned. public
And that
access.
is part of the conservation subdivision decision with this. It
With
can
this
either be
one.
dedicated to the town,
Right.
or it remains in the HOA with public access, and
Okay.
that is the route that we have asked them to pursue with this.
Okay.
I guess I only had like one other follow-up. I noticed that in the recommendations, just this was discussion, I guess, on a pedestrian link to the city sidewalk system, or
And we can put that down, and again, I know that was part of the discussion, multiple discussions that I was in about having that connection. And it was just the decision of where to put it. Because if you've got because we were trying to figure out where else, because the only sidewalk, because you've got the sidewalk on Quail Summit that goes right to there and ends, and you don't have the sidewalk on Bristol Road. As far as I remember, there's nothing there on Bristol Road, so it would have to be coming off of that other way, somewhere down Parish Street, to be able to make that Parish Street extension, to be able to make that connection.
Does that other, I guess, the northeastern corner of that property that juts all the way up to 21? I mean, is that an access point, or does that actually connect up there, or is that just following the creek?
I think it's just following the creek bed and the lines. I don't know if there's enough room to have that as an access as far as a sidewalk area. Shauna keeps getting kicked out, so she's chatting with us. So she said it's not an access point.
Okay,
Yeah. And then, but then you'd also have the issue of getting it out there and going down 21 to 5 and 20, and there's nothing on the other side.
yeah, I know this was well into the future, because there's
Yeah.
other definitions for accessing it,
Yeah.
down further by the hospital and up further by,
Right.
another way.
So are there any other questions or comments based on past recommendations? And I think they've been very receptive, and I know we've said that several times, and they've been very receptive to the suggestions that have been made, and I think they've learned along the way from past feedback and past comments and community reaction, and they've really tried with this one to accommodate as much as they can.
There's gonna be a lot of green space in that
There is.
project, which is great.
Yes, there is.
I'm just curious, do the site plan drawings show the layout of the trails?
I'm not gonna say anything, because I would say something I'd probably be wrong, because I know the last discussion, the last I had, they were still in discussion where they were going to be, so, well,
Those are
can we-
proposed trails right there.
so there are some proposed, can we make that, so can we see more of that on there?
Sarah, Linda, the trails are can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, for some reason I keep getting bounced off, but so they're shown some of them, but they're going to be most likely shifted.
So can you see those okay there, Sarah Linda?
Yes, I can see.
Because you do have, it does show where section 1 is, it shows the trail connecting to with a little access. That
Right.
black spot in the bottom left corner.
Is
I know
it
originally he had proposed the trail following the contour of the property line of the bed and breakfast. They didn't like that. They thought it was gonna bring too many people popping over that. So he moved that trail line as well. And they will, once from my understanding, once the homes go in and then landscaping is in, then they'll have a better idea of where the finalized trails are gonna end up. So they don't want to commit to anything firm, because that could change once it's in real life in front of you.
Mhm.
One thing you can do is wait till they have a few residents and see where they walk.
And see where they
That's
want.
that's what, yep, he wants to do that. We walked the trails in Lakewood Meadows last week, just to get a feel for the trail type and the trail surface and how they've withstood and how they've compacted. And he really wants to do something similar to what he did in Lakewood Meadows.
Yeah. And break that noise out in the driving to go on, blew whatever was in my mind out. So whatever that noise was, I'm like, what the heck is that out there? My thought's gone.
It's really there's a really bad storm right now. At least in Cheshire there is.
This is not snow.
We'll see if our chickens are blown away and if our trampoline's still there. That might be gone too. I already did one tumble today. So any other questions? So I think the recommendation to, if I can summarize, to make sure, seek resident input on the trails. Number one. Continue working on the stream bed the stream that goes through. Keeping the properties away. And I don't know if they're at the 150 feet that we had suggested, because I can't pull it from right
Away
there.
from the stream.
From the stream, yeah.
Doesn't look like it.
They are not in every location. Again, it meanders a little bit, so it's
Right.
not 150 feet consecutively,
Okay.
concurrently.
Any other suggestions that people would like to see, that the committee would like, the board would like to see in there? All right, so it looks like we have two to recommend and to add, and I'm sure, this will take a while, so I'm sure we'll have other times to look at it and see, because it's gonna be a while working on this project. So, all right, so you got that down? All right, so, yeah, can I give a motion to approve the suggestions, the recommendations as discussed?
I'll make the motion.
Okay,
Whatever.
you didn't hear, Edith made the motion, so Justin, can we take?
All right,
you
I'll
to
go for the second.
We'll take you to the second on that. All right, any other further discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the motion carries. All right, thanks everybody for your time, and everybody for your time over the years looking at this project and the multiple renditions of it. All right, so that takes us to old business. So we have so the December newsletter winter activities. Were you able to get that in, Justin?
So it wasn't on winter activities. I actually submitted, and Pat, I forwarded it to you. I didn't
I
actually.
did, I copied it and I sent it over to Sarah.
Okay, thank you.
And I did find a couple of images of, it's a new invasive species, Justin will tell you, I don't want to steal his thunder.
Oh, no, yeah, so I had some photos because it came from just the New York Forest Owners magazine, the most recent
Right.
one, about
Right,
just another invasive, but like they're starting to detect it in parts of the state. It's what is it, the eastern zigzag sawfly
Oh, yeah.
that attacks an elm, basically elm species. So it's another nuisance for elms to help, I guess, finish them off.
Yeah, like they haven't had enough.
Yeah, so it's not quite in our area, but I thought it was an interesting article because it kind of tied in the first people to find it were just citizen scientists, and they're using the iNaturalist tool and IMAP invasives, and just kind of tying in from last month when we had the article just describing that, documenting what you're seeing and everything. I don't know, it's pretty lengthy, it's a little more sciencey, but I thought it was appropriate just to document a new one to be on the lookout for. There wasn't a lot of good pictures, and the two that they had in there, I couldn't get them to save properly in there, so I'm glad you're able to find a couple.
I just Googled the bug and clicked on images and grabbed a couple images and sent them to Sarah. So
Yeah, the
those-
leaves are pretty neat, how it actually zigzags while it
Yeah.
eats.
Yeah,
That's pretty distinctive.
yeah, I got one of the bug and one of the pattern on the leaf that they leave behind. So
Okay,
hopefully that'll work out.
all right, well, thanks for doing that.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Gary, you good for January?
I am. Yeah, I'd already written something up on a softball, but I guess I'll do something else.
Uh-oh.
You can do winter activities.
Yeah.
That's still up for
Oh.
grabs.
You two are gonna have to hash that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you two wanna
yeah,
figure that out.
Yeah, maybe doing something on deer management or perhaps I think I'd asked, talked about before doing something about mycelial communication between trees, kind of fungus beneath us, but we could think of something on winter activities, but I'll let you know next couple of weeks, so Pat.
Sounds
All
good,
right,
sounds good.
excellent, thank you. And then February, we have the proposed gypsy moth and preventative activities, getting ready for the spring. I know,
Oh, we just talked about
oh,
bugs.
we just talked about, yeah,
Bugs,
yeah, invasive bugs and everything else.
Yes.
All right, so the fall exhibit, it is up, it's not great, but it's up.
And I am seriously, well, you know, I know what I would do for the one I listed, but I have been kind of thinking about other things. For instance, the very distinctive trees in the town property, such as the one out by the Ononda and in the Seneca Point Cemetery. And I've also been thinking about doing one on dead trees because I've been noticing mine. Some of them are apartment houses, you know, and some of the ones on the ground are actually motels and mini storages. You know? And one of them is a sentry post because that's where the crows sit.
There you go.
Yep.
That
You
would
know.
be interesting, yeah.
And I think that might be kind of fun, you know. Even I even have one of a townhouse, somebody had cut out a hollow piece of a log and set it up as a birdhouse, you know,
That
which
sounds
is
like a
pretty
fun,
cute.
that'd be a
Yeah.
fun article,
You know, yeah.
or a
So
fun,
Okay.
or a fun
it makes kind
exhibit.
of a fun exhibit.
It would.
Yeah, it's just, you know, dead trees in the proper place are really valuable wildlife habitat. You know, that apartment house has birds, it has squirrels in it, and I think a raccoon. So it's,
So there we go.
so I'm thinking about
Okay,
doing that.
all right. Okay, let's move on to new business then. So I brought up the scenic overlay. And again, I don't know if anybody else has any other thoughts to share on that, other than just keep an eye on it and keep looking at it. And keep it as, you know, keep it in the back of, keep it in the forefront to try to improve and try to get ordinance to look at those.
It has been a focus of this committee for 15 years.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think the hard part about it is you get to the point and then it really just, it either
very
goes off into a
nebulous, yes.
tangent, or it just gets so overburdensome and then people throw their hands up and they're like,
Yes.
we can't, it's gone too far, we can't.
Mhm.
So it's finding that happy medium.
Yes, and there is also some feeling among residents who are not in the watershed area that other parts of the town actually are scenic also.
I know, and that's,
And I've heard that expressed.
and I know, and that's, I mean, out where, you know, I think out where we are, and I think of the open views, and I think of the, right, where the rolling hills and all of that,
Yes, yes.
that's just
Yes,
as
I know.
important,
There's just so much.
yeah.
Mhm.
So at least it's
Yes.
It's a
this is-
start.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is a good place. to
And
start.
it's progress moving in that right direction. All right, so item number 2 of new business, we have been, it's been requested that we contribute $233 of our budget to the kiosks at Ononda Park. They're gonna be going in there. There's a little bit of a shortfall there and we can help fund that. And along with the history team to help fund those kiosks. So that is something, since it is a budget expense, we will need to have a vote on that. So can I get a motion to approve contributing $233 from the ECB budget to the Ononda project?
Motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion on the matter before we vote?
I'll just give a little update on this. The Parks Department budget has also been asked for a similar contribution, and they've approved it. So if this goes through, the money will be there. And the idea was that we would try to get this thing done by the end of the year. There are a few reasons why it's beginning to look like that isn't likely to happen. And Sarah has told us that the money can be encumbered so that it can be 2021 budget money, even if it isn't spent until 2022. So that seems likely to happen, or it may even take longer than the first few months, because this has gotten to be kind of a complicated project between the creation of a map, which would have been the central panel, and then the addition of some digital features that would allow people to download either a map and or some information about things that you might see on the trail, to download them to their phones, so that if they're up, along the trail and they're looking at trees and they want to figure out what is this tree anyway, there might be something that they could pull up on their phone that would allow them to identify it by leaves or by bark or whatever. So it's getting kind of complicated, and that's one side. The other side of it is that Eric has made some contact with some of the biology faculty and conservation faculty at FLCC, and they seem to be interested in helping us give accurate information about the natural history there at Ononda, but not right away. That would be a spring project. So I'm kind of thinking by the time we get all of the pieces together, it might actually be next summer before these panels get created and put up at Ononda. So whether we can stretch our 2021 budget that far, I'm not sure, but in any case, I think the project is going to come together nicely. It's just going to take a little longer than I had hoped.
And I think if it is, like Sarah told you, if it is encumbered and it is for a specific purpose, it can stay in there. So we shouldn't have to worry about losing that.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for that. Any other comments on the contribution? Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the table. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so motion carried. So we've approved contributing $233 towards the Ononda kiosk project. All right, thank you for that. All right, next new business is ECB membership. And I do have a letter of interest from a Kim Burkhardt, somebody who might know Kim.
Yay.
So here is, I told her, I'm like, well, we're gonna be talking about you, so not too awkward or too weird.
Thank you.
I don't have a digital, do you want me to hold that there?
Got it. See it.
Okay. So Kim is interested in being a full, not only recording everything for us, but also being a member of the ECB. And I've discussed it with I did reach out to the town attorney to make sure that it's okay, that there's nothing weird, because you never know, there are weird things all the time. And he said it was fine. He said there's no issue with it, with her being, we're being the recorder and being recording everything and keeping us organized and being on the committee. So with Sarah Linda stepping down effective the beginning of the year, I think this is a nice transition that we will have Kim, who can be a full voting member of the committee. And it would start January 1st, because that's when Sarah Linda's would become effective. So December 31st, we say goodbye to Sarah Linda, and January 1st, we say hi to Kim on the committee. And that brings us closer to, we'll have our regular membership, not the new proposed membership, because we're still waiting for that. All right, any discussion or any thoughts on that?
I think that's an excellent addition.
That's wonderful.
I'm delighted.
Me
Yes.
too.
Wonderful.
Yay.
Yes, and I was very excited and very happy, because not only with the environmental background, but we've seen what she's done with the website and the you know, the ability for brochures and creating information, and the whole education piece is what excites me with being able to get techie and up to date and really good things out there. So I'm very excited for that. So, all right, so can I get a motion to approve Kim as a new member of the ECB starting January 1st, 2022?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. So congratulations, Kim.
Yay.
Welcome to the club. All right, so that's great. So that puts us back to, you know, we've got that good core there. So thank you for that. All right, any other reports or anything else from the CIC? I doubt anything.
Shauna, do you
kicking yet?
remember CIC, what we talked about last time we were here together?
The last time we had CIC, we had Kevin Olvani come in.
That's right, we did. There we
Yep.
go.
And gosh, that was a really good
It was
presentation.
a report.
Mhm.
We did. It was
Yep.
good.
Yeah, it was good.
It's
She
okay.
has
I'm
a
not
younger
sure.
brain than
I'm-
me.
Has this board ever looked at anything related to docks and moorings?
Yes, I have, but
You have?
in a prior lifetime, yes.
Are you,
Okay,
But that's because, you know, I worked with the soil and water
with
district,
soil and water.
watershed task force for a long time.
Okay.
So are
I'm
you-
quite familiar with it, but
are you asking that question, Shauna? Are you aware? So I'm gonna be taking over for
Kathy.
Kathy. I'm gonna be taking over for Kathy on that. I'm now drawing a blank. What am I taking over for her?
You.
You were
You
there last
are
night.
gonna be the
The
town
watershed-
representative.
The watershed task force.
Yes.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Alliance,
Man.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
man.
alliance.
Yes.
Watershed Alliance.
Watershed
Now-
Alliance.
Kevin has a graphic that I thought was great that shows what each organization does. We might want to get a copy of that. It's a really good kind of overview of the purview of each group.
Okay.
So let me see if I can get a copy of that for you.
That'd be
Jared.
great.
Okay.
And yeah, because we had them at the meeting yesterday, he presented, it was approved we're gonna relook at the group's gonna relook at the dockings and moorings law. So we've allocated, money was allocated to be able to hire the attorney to look at it and rewrite it and update it. So that's coming down the road.
Interesting.
Okay, yeah, that'll be a big task.
Yeah, so I mean, we're looking at like a year, looking at like a long, you know, it's gonna take a while, but it'll be a good project.
Good.
It was a huge project in the beginning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and because it affects every municipality on the lake, it's a big lift. Okay, so anything else, Sarah Leonard, from the local history team?
well, there are a few projects going on. One of them is the survey of historic resources, which we have a consultant working on, and that's gotten underway and will be over the next 6 or 8 months. There's something we've sort of had on the back burner for a long time, which is doing a display of the historic maps of the town. That finally should be coming to pass sometime this month. And there's 6 maps ranging in date from 1852 up to 1977. And they'll be displayed in the corridor right outside the room where you're meeting there. So that'll be a resource for people who would like to trace what happened to their particular section of town. The first 6 of the 7 map, no, I'm sorry, the first 5 of the 6 maps have a dot for each house. So it's possible to identify a particular location and go back and see within a particular time frame anyway when that house was built. So that's one. And then the Armada Park kiosk project is another one. And we've gotten involved in a number of cemetery related projects. So that's kind of on the radar screen also.
Yeah, that cemetery discussion is one that'll be for a while. You know, hopefully trying to figure out how to manage and maintain and preserve and conserve. And it fits with us because we have the historian on the board, and also because it is part of our, conserve, those are resources that need to be conserved, And I would too, I don't know if we discussed this last time or if you've heard, the Footerman Cottage is not gonna happen. We were looking at probably close to $200,000 to move it. Because of the craning and the lifting and everything else. The move would have been easy, but the getting it there, and then, trying to find an appropriate place where it could be utilized, so. Unfortunately, that's not gonna happen. All right, anything from the tree board?
Well, we met. We're still hoping to have a training session with some town staff as far as proper pruning. I'm still prodding to open this to the public because I think there are a lot of homeowners who would benefit, and I think it would be helpful with the number of invasive species and diseases that we are experiencing to know when to prune, and particularly with oak wilt, because that is a pruning problem there. We are looking at a list of trees that are suggested for developers, things that will grow fast, put big roots down, grow in a hurry, some that are small, short, whatever, And I'm hoping that we will append habitat values to those. The tree committee did survey all of the town cemeteries and note difficulties with the trees and where they might be imperiling the tombstones and things like that. And I do know that a few of the cemeteries have the trees marked that are supposed to be taken down, but they've been marked for quite a while. It's one of them it's on New Michigan there. I'm wondering about how those trees are staying up in this wind. Because they are in great proximity, they're very close to electric wires there. So this wind may take some of them out.
Yeah, it might.
Yeah, but possibly the reports from the tree committee that we made on the cemetery visits would be helpful for the cemetery committee. If they would like to look at those, we could be sure to share them.
Okay. Yeah, can we put that in there in the minutes that we should share that with, since I know Leaf is heading that up, the discussion, so to make sure that we.
Yes, I
make them
think
know.
it would be valuable information because the trees are a great feature of the cemeteries, and many of them are quite in good condition, but
And many of them have become part of the cemetery and part of the tombstones and everything.
Yes,
they're
they
intertwined
are
now.
They are intimately
Yes.
connected. Yes.
Yep.
And people are quick to say, well, you need to take down that tree. It's going to be falling on a tombstone. Not century, but it's a great, enormous, healthy tree.
Yeah.
And it, scorched earth is not an answer.
No, it's not. And
I have one other tree related suggestion, and it also deals with invasives. And that is, this is in one of the parks. I noticed at Ononda Park, a small grove of tree of heaven. And I know Tree of Heaven also appears in one of the cemeteries, and both of these being locations on town property, I think that there's a great opportunity there for the town to take the lead in actually pointing out to people what Tree of Heaven is, where it is, what it looks like, and what you should do if you have it on your property. It may not be one of the worst invasives. It's been around for a long time, but once it gets established, it really does spread in an amazing way. And I would love to see the town, sort of say, well, this is something that we don't want to have on our own property, and and do something about it in those two locations and other locations if there are. But those are two that I happen to be aware of.
Yes, the tree committee did recommend that. And the other thing is that they attract and host spotted lanternflies.
Okay.
They are preferred habitat for those, preferred egg laying, etc.
We also saw quite a few bunches of multiflora rose in the
Oh.
park, and those are
Yes.
pretty aggressive invasive. They tend to spread and climb
They layer.
and block
Well,
out.
we did note buckthorn, Asian bittersweet,
Mhm.
and multiflora rose is getting very widespread in the understory and needs to be taken out. If we had some hardy volunteers with leather gloves and loppers, we would certainly be able to put them to work, but it's going to be a big task.
Right.
And the multiflora, of course, will layer. When the fronds get long enough to hit the ground, it will sprout a whole new bush.
It'd be a fun
Because the
Saturday.
tip will.
When you made a recommendation for that, was that just the tree board that where did that
Yes, I
go
think
off
we
to?
spoke about it at the tree board, and I think it was recorded. You know,
Okay.
that we found this. and-
All right, so feel free to share in the future, share any of those with me as well, because I think that's something that, I mean, like, kind of like Sarah Linda was saying too, that if we find some of these locations, we can document them, and then we can go through the proper remediation procedures and put it all out there. So then people can see, okay, this is what it is, here's how I get rid of it. And there are times when, that things are a little bit slow. I know and that's when,
That's when
we
this
might
kind
have,
of thing would
we might
happen.
have bodies who can do that
Mhm.
and get out there and do it.
Now, the Sand Hill Cemetery is the one that is overrun with the ailanthus trees.
Right.
And many of them are quite large. And they have, of course, after you cut them, you have to keep after the things that sprout from the roots.
Yeah.
I've got it. Yeah, sorry.
So,
Well, I would be up for a work day. I can't speak for the whole tree committee, but it would make a fun Saturday, throw in some pizza and other treats at the end of the day, and it would be a good day.
And I mean, yeah,
it's what I was doing on my own place yesterday.
And we
was
have-
cutting buckthorn.
I mean, we didn't do going forward too, I mean, that's the type of thing where we have the budget. We ourselves have the budget, and I don't know that the tree team has a budget,
No.
but it's something that, I mean, we weren't, Ananda got canceled again, so we weren't able to do that, so we didn't spend money on that, so it's something that we could, provide, nourishment
Yes.
or something like that to get people out there.
Is that Eric getting ready to leave?
Yeah,
Eric, did you participate in the egg mass survey with Maura and the crew from FLCC?
No, I couldn't that day.
Okay. I was curious as to what you found. I'd emailed her and
Okay.
discussion of trees, but it appears from my walk through there's not an awful lot, but we'll see what she came up with.
I didn't see too much in my survey, but I don't have the trained eye that you might, or she certainly does.
Yeah,
But-
I was curious because they also had surveyed the field station that FLCC has at the base of Honeoye. And that was an area that was not aerial sprayed like Onanda, my understanding is. It might be interesting to do that comparison. I know the gentleman who did the spraying this past spring, Chuck Weber, is soliciting new contracts for people to sign up. I think that information on the egg mass survey would be helpful in people making a decision about whether it'd be worthwhile to have another round of spraying done at Ananda and at people's personal residences.
Okay, I'll speak with her on Tuesday
Great.
and ask her to get in touch with you and ask her to email both of us
Okay.
and
Thanks.
summarize the findings.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Very good.
all right, drive safe. Yeah, good luck.
Have fun.
See ya.
The flying nun.
Yeah.
So another thing that I will do, I'll reach out to Dave Platten, who's a town resident. He's a high school teacher. And I think he does the ecology club as well. He's a science teacher.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that might be another option to get some of the kids out there, or even take, I'm a high school kid. I'd love a day field trip to go to one of these spots and clean stuff up.
Yes.
Get out of the classroom and go do something.
The clicker is that the stubs need to be treated
Mhm.
with herbicide.
Right.
And whether there's a problem with kids handling that or not, I don't know.
I don't know, but
I
that,
do myself.
I mean, that
but
could be an adult thing too.
Yeah.
The kids are
could be
trimming
the
and cleaning.
teachers, yeah.
And, right, and that, but that, yeah, that, and that's, so now we're crossing two entities and their rules, and so
Yes, I
it would
know.
all depend what the school says and what,
Yeah,
yeah,
SLCC often has things like that also that
Yeah.
you might tap into.
and this might be a nice connection,
Mhm.
you know, to do it and to get out there and do some cleanup with that.
Mhm.
Another thought for your pruning in the trees is, you know, thinking of even of fruit trees to kind of spark that. We have Terrence Robinson in the town,
Mm,
who is a world-renowned, you know, apple grower.
mhm.
And he has, you know, if you Google him on YouTube, he's got videos on, you know, breeding and all of that with the apple trees, but, you know, another resource for the proper pruning and care of these.
Mhm.
So,
That's valuable information, really.
Mhm.
It's,
yeah,
It might help to focus some of the invasive plantings, trees and such in our ECB newsletter, just to be more specific about
right,
what residents could look for, like the
Right, I think that
multiflorals
would
and the
be-
buckthorn
yeah.
and the tree of heaven,
or
but
even just
like
even
just a very,
like focus on two and say,
very simple explanation,
Yeah.
more in-depth kind of thing
Mhm.
would be helpful.
yeah, and that could be,
Since I suggested it, I guess I probably should put my
Well, why not?
typing where my mouth is.
I mean, that could be, once we get out, I mean, I don't
Just
know,
before spring,
maybe a
early.
March,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
or even, yeah, a February, March, whichever,
Watch for these.
yeah.
Garlic
mustard. It's
one of the early
ones.
It is.
So invasive tree, yeah,
It's, you know, that was brought in as a culinary herb.
Hmm.
They missed their garlic.
It tastes good.
yeah.
And the leaves are young.
Yes.
All right, and then the last thing that I have is, I'm going to be sending in, and Shauna reminded me, and this is one thing I didn't know when I signed up for this, that the ECB provides an annual report.
Oh,
So I will be
yes.
working, so if you have anything that you would like me to share in the annual report, I am more than happy to put that together. So if you have any thoughts or anything that you would like to share, or any highlights from the past year that you would like me to put in there, I would be more than happy to. So just you can shoot me an email and get it out there, and I will, and I'll put that in there. So I have it in by the deadline.
When's the deadline?
I thought the 21st is in my head. I don't know if that's right, December 21st. I don't know if that's in my head, if that's right. Shauna, correct me if I'm wrong, or if you know the
The
date.
21st. I don't know why that's in your head.
First day of winter,
Maybe it's the first day of winter.
that's what it is.
Yeah, so I don't, or
Not
maybe,
being
when's the
anything
next CIC meeting?
The CIC next week, next Tuesday.
Oh heavens.
That's the first Tuesday. of-
Oh, the second Tuesday, the second CIC is the 21st. Maybe you have that.
Maybe that's what. it
That's
is.
why I'm not losing it. That's why it's in there.
There you go.
Okay, so by the 21st, so they have it for the second CIC. And if anybody would like to volunteer to present it, otherwise I will just send it in because I won't be able to make it over there during the day for that. So just think
I'll
about
be,
that.
Jared, I can do that. And
Oh, excellent.
also I can help you in any way you need to draft the report. I
Perfect.
helped Chuck with the planning board.
Oh, all right. We will be in touch. I will stop into your office.
Okay.
All right, I'm not gonna say no to that offer. To help me through that. Okay. All right, anything else for the good of the order?
I just had one quick suggestion, or if anybody's come across it, the EPA just came out with the environmental impacts of US food waste. I don't know if anybody saw or got that email with the report, basically documenting how much we waste and giving equivalents in our carbon and loss of pesticides and everything else, but I can forward that on if you guys didn't get it or provide the link to it. It's
Yeah,
pretty
that's
interesting.
great. How depressing is it?
Just the amount of water we lose is enough for 50 million homes and yeah, I mean, we lose as much of
Gases,
an
yeah.
area of agricultural land based on the food waste of New York and California combined. And
Wow.
yeah, those are just the frontline things on there. So pretty depressing.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that.
But good info of why we should do it, and people in the town maybe have a listing or posting to it so they understand.
Yeah, that'd be good. That would be great. Even maybe we could share the link and maybe even put that up on the website and get, maybe that will, I don't know, that would be a good thing coming from higher prices, as people will be more conscious and we won't waste as much and I don't know.
We can hope.
We can hope. All right, so it is 5:30. Well, I'll go by this one because we started it based on this one. So it's 5:31. I think we've come to the end. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Sure.
We have a sure. Can I get a why not from anyone? Can I get a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, thanks, everybody. So I don't know if I'll be here at the next one, but if not, hope you had a great, I wish you all a happy holiday and a happy new year and hopefully you get to enjoy time with family and stay
See
safe
you
and
guys
healthy.
around.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
I know.
All right, well,